Week 2 of the NFL is here, and we've got our best bets for you on another edition of... That's right, Gameday Gambles, our new featured sports betting show over here on the KC Sports Authority podcast. Welcome into the Week 2 edition of the NFL Sports Betting. He's Greg. I'm Keegan Russell. Welcome to the show. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below so you can follow along with us this NFL and college football season and hopefully make some money along the way with us. If you were paying attention this last weekend and you did place those bets that we also placed, we went 6-3 week 1. Basically anything that was Sunday related, fantastic. Outside of Sunday, not so much. We had a couple games definitely not go our way, but went 6-3 opening week in the NFL, and we're back for NFL Week 2 to hopefully find some plays for you guys. But before we get into those plays, a couple things I got to ask you, Greg. First off, what the heck happened with the 49ers and Christian McCaffrey, and how soon are we going to see a massive fine thrown their way? Because the NFL is in bed with all these sports betting sites now. And that news broke like immediately before kickoff, which completely changed the whole betting landscape. So I want to start there. Thoughts on how that went down?
Yeah, there's a lot of fantasy players not too happy since that was the Monday night game. And it sounded like he was going to play up until about a half hour before kickoff. And then it started – rumors started swirling, and then sure enough, he was out. Sports books played games where they changed odds if people tried to get to the window quickly, where they took Mason at -110 and then got adjusted to -5,000 at Bet365. So that was posted all line. I mean, my thought on that is if the sports book can't change it quick enough, good for the player. Yeah, just my opinion. But yeah, I mean, to reflect a little bit on what you were saying on the intro, look, we had some bad beats last week, everyone. We went 6-3. We gave you a teaser win or two on top. But, I mean, if Isaiah Likely wears a white shoe, touchdown cover. I mean, they wouldn't have known he was out of bounds. He's out by, an inch, if that, maybe even a centimeter. Packers, I mean, are you kidding me? If the first down just goes a different way, they take 3 knees, cover there too by a half a point. So we had some bad beats. The Jets was that was just an atrocious play. I'll apologize for that. I sold Keegan on it, I think, a little bit.
We felt, as soon as Christian McCaffrey news broke, you started to feel a little bit better about the Jets, but
they went up
didn't
7
seem to matter at all.
They went up 7-3, and I said, all right, we got another winner. But, I mean, then Aaron Rodgers, remember, he was 40, and I'll be playing against them quite a bit this year. But that's kind of my reflections on last week.
But 6-3 is not a bad start. Outside of those couple of games we lost, is there anything from a betting perspective you took away from this weekend? Teams that we might be overreacting to with odds this week, teams we might be underreacting to, or teams you might think, hey, we've got a good feeling about them after week 1 on who they are?
Yeah, look, I think the Bengals is an overreaction. They start slow. Well, they've started slow the last, 3-4 years?
Yeah, 3 or 4 years now. They started 1-2, 3 of the last 4 years.
So I'm not going to overreact to them. I think they'll play a tight game this week. I don't know if they'll win, but I think they'll give Kansas City a game. They seem to always do that. I think people are going to be right to overreact to the Giants. I think we saw who they are. I don't think they're a good football team. Look, I think the Patriots are going to get more love than they probably should too. People are now saying, "Oh, look." Everything that could have went wrong for the Bengals.
Yeah.
Everything that could have went wrong. So I'm not going to overreact to the Patriots and say, hey, they're going to, compete for the AFC East now. No, those are kind of my takeaways. I think this is a week where you'll see the overreactions. You'll see lines move. I think we're already seeing it a little bit.
Yeah, the takeaway I had, I thought some of it was evident in some of the scores. There was a lot of sloppy play offensively. And typically, I feel like you see the offenses look solid week 1 and defenses are slow to catch up. To me, it felt like outside of a handful of games, offenses looked really sloppy. You could tell that maybe this is a hot take that teams should actually take the preseason seriously. I don't know.
100%.
But there were definitely teams where the offense just was not clicking and rolling, and it was kind of a slow start. The other angle I took too is maybe wide receiver 2s from a prop standpoint perspective or fantasy football perspective. Maybe you look at a couple of wide receiver 2s this week. Jamison Williams had a monster game. Amon-Ra St. Brown, not really. Dalton Kincaid was projected to be the wide receiver one type of target for Buffalo. Didn't really do much of anything. Just to name a couple, Brandon Cooks had a good game. Not that CeeDee Lamb didn't, but Brandon Cooks finds the end zone, Lamb doesn't. So maybe from that perspective too, you look at some of the wide receiver two plays on some of those teams that have a clear cut wide receiver one, but have a guy at number two that might get a lot of look. And then of course my other takeaway from watching that Sunday game, the Rams and Lions, is all of you who are sleeping on Cooper Kupp this year or thought coming into the year that he was going to be too banged up to recap what he's done the last couple of years. Not only were you wrong, you also see Puka go down. So now he's clearly the wide receiver one. He's going to get double-digit targets week in and week out. So from a fantasy perspective there, he's a league winner if you ask me. And I was able in one of my leagues to get him and Tyreek Hill in the first 4 rounds. So love that there. I thought he was great. But yeah, overall, some pretty sloppy play. I don't know how that's going to really impact us from a betting perspective this week in some of our plays. But I think offense as a whole just wasn't the prettiest this weekend. So if you were looking for all these prop overs, not a ton of them hit.
And I think that's the story. Like you said, every year now with the preseason, we don't play. If anyone watched the Manning cast, which that's all I watch on Monday Night Football when they're on, I mean, Peyton went off for 10 minutes about the preseason and people not playing every time they dropped a pass, every time. Like, this is why you need a preseason. And I'd say the other one that I think, let's reel ourselves back in, which we talked about a little bit last episode, is the Falcons and the Buccaneers. Look, I don't think the Falcons are as bad as they looked. I think they'll be fine. But again, I don't understand everyone with the Bucks putting them to bed saying the Falcons are going to win that division. Baker is just so disrespected. It's not even funny. Look how he played again. I mean, the Bucks will probably win that division again. I think they are better than they were last year. I don't think the Falcons are as bad as we saw on Sunday. They'll be just fine. But I think the Bucks are that class of that division still.
Yeah, Falcons just looked like they had the classic new look team, high expectations, newer coach, new quarterback coming off an injury, who had the unfortunate aspect of going up against TJ Watt, who is most people's pick for defensive player of the year. And boy, did he just disrupt everything. And Cousins could not get the ball out quick enough. Didn't get to see Drake London do much of anything. So yeah, we talked about doing an overreaction Monday episode. I didn't get into it, but there are a lot of things that I think people are going to overreact to that we might just pause and cool, which is why we like to look to the sports books for our answers, because we know Vegas typically knows more about what's going on than the average bettor. So let's see if we can find some week 2 wins this week. And of course, let's start with Thursday Night Football. Buffalo at Miami. Miami, all offense, no defense. Saw it this last week. They almost cost themselves the game again with defensive miscues. Buffalo did not get as much involved in the pass game as we might have thought early on. It was a lot of run heavy game, but you got two division rivals right there going at it down in Miami. Opens up again right now. Miami's a 2.5-point favorite at home. What's your feeling on this game?
So I'm on Buffalo. You'll hear this throughout the year. I'm probably going to always be on Buffalo if they're getting points. I'm a guy in fantasy who I'll take Josh Allen early. He's going to score the most fantasy points of this year. I mean, it's going to happen. I say it all the time. Like, I got people are like, oh, he's going to turn the ball over. You know what my answer is? Good. Every time he turns the ball over, he goes right back down the field and scores a touchdown for me. So this game's going to go up and down the field. You want to give me Josh Allen 2.5 points? Great. I think they win the game outright, but I'll take 2.5 and the best player on the field. No problem.
Yep. I like that a lot. If you're looking at Miami, I might look at some of the player props. Tyreek Hill's line, of course, is wicked high because of last week. So I kind of like Jalen Waddle as a look there. Even on touchdown. I think, of course, with Raheem Mostert out, Devon Achane is going to get a ton of carries and a ton of look. And I'm forgetting I know we talked about this off air. I'm forgetting the rookie they have. Going completely blank on the guy that from a fantasy perspective, people are high on if he ever gets playing. But Devon Achane is going to be a workhorse this week. Tyreek's going to get a lot of looks. So offensively, I think Miami puts up a ton of numbers. But I think Josh Allen knows how to go and win these types of games. And I think Dalton Kincaid gets back into it. Did absolutely nothing last week, and there's no way he goes over the second week. So I like that bounce back there. And yeah, if you've got one of the better quarterbacks on the road as an underdog, I'd like the cover there.
Check the weather, everyone, tomorrow before the game starts. If it's windy,
supposedly there's that hurricane coming in.
Yeah, could be rainy, could be windy. If the winds kick up, I like Buffalo even more. Tua's not going to run, but you know who is? Josh Allen.
Yep. Love that one. I'm going to go to my first play on Sunday. I really like this Saints Cowboys game. I think both overreactions on both sides. The Saints absolutely throttled the Panthers. The Panthers couldn't do anything. Now, I'm not saying I have confidence in Derek Carr to go out there and do a ton, especially with the fact that he didn't get Chris Olave involved at all. But the Saints have a really good defense. And to me, this is a game of two teams with really good defenses that have a lot to prove offensively. Even though the Cowboys might have the better offensive weapons, Alvin Kamara is no guy to think easy on. I think he can get in space. So I like this game a lot. New Orleans on the road at plus 6.5. I'm kind of back and forth on that one, or the over under at 46.5. And I'm leaning the under there. This could be a 23-21 type game, or 23-20, which would still put right at the under. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this game. I thought the Cowboys looked really good, but they were also going up against probably one of the worst franchises in the NFL. And Deshaun looked so bad that I don't know how much of the Cowboys offense really had to do anything in that game. So, maybe they come out and look even better offensively than they do just defensively. But this to me screams a defensive grinded out game.
So this one, I can see it. I can see the under. People liking the under 47, 6.5 on the Cowboys. Look, they looked good last week on both sides of the ball. Could it be an overreaction? I don't know. Look, Deshaun Watson has not been good, everyone. Like, he's just not been good. Every time he throws a ball and every time Baker throws a ball, I think we start realizing more and more, maybe it's the Browns that are the worst franchise in football, at least the worst front office. I mean, we make fun of the Jets a lot here in New York. I mean, that's what we do, make fun of their decisions. But, God, maybe Cleveland. I mean, the worst contract in sports history is what you're watching out there. So
the Ben Simmons of the NBA with that Deshaun Watson contract.
It really is. Could the Saints cover 6.5? Yeah, if I was betting that game and you're forcing me to take a pick, it's gonna be a pass for me, but I would take the points probably there. It is week 2. Yeah. If this was week 10 and the Cowboys were rolling and they were 8-1 and we got a little bigger sample size of them at home, I might lay 6.5. But right now, week 2, the way I saw the Saints defense play, they were playing a Division II college team, but I mean, the defense did look good.
I'm big into alternate spreads too. So even teasing that up to plus 9.5 is still minus 178 for the Saints. So I still like that. I'm not saying you're going to make huge money unless you're throwing a lot at it, but we're trying to find not just money winning bets, but ones that you feel pretty good are going to hit. So I like that game. Where do you want to go next?
Look, my play, the first play I'm going to play is, we just talked about how bad Cleveland is. I'm going to take the Jags at home. Look, the Jags played a good game on both sides of the ball. They controlled. Look, they got eaten up a little bit by Waddle, by Hill, right? But they were containing. They were playing bend, don't break defense and doing a great job. And then Etienne was going in to pretty much seal the deal here, and he fumbles. And the game turns. The next play is an 80-yard touchdown to Hill. I mean, that's more than half of the yards Hill went for was on one play. So, and it seems to be what the Dolphins do. They have big plays, and Tua winds up throwing for 400 yards. But if you can contain them, you can beat Miami. And that's what the Jags were doing. And then two plays, the game was back in question. Dolphins win by 3. By the way, on this show last week, we told you that would be a field goal game and to take the 3.5. Not only did we call it, we called the score. I'm going to give the Jags a second chance against Cleveland because I don't think Watson can do anything against them. And until they establish someone that's dangerous on that offensive side, look, their defense is okay. Their defense is probably good, but the problem is if the offense is going to keep going 3 and out, maybe a first down and then punt, the defense is going to get tired. And a back like Etienne and that offensive line for the Jags is just going to wear them out. So give me the Jags minus 3.
I like that one. Next one I want to go with is the Tampa Bay Detroit game. Again, maybe a little bit of an overreaction. I am with you. I think Baker looks incredible. I think the Buccaneers offense is fantastic. They have a lot of weapons. They can spread the ball out. Detroit's defense is better, that's for sure. But look what Cooper Kupp did. He ate the field all over. They did contain Kyron Williams pretty well in the run game, and the Buccaneers don't have the strongest run game. But this, to me, looks like a fun shootout. Tampa Bay plus 7.5 on the road. I'm really tempted to go ahead and take that, but I also really like the over at 51.5. This to me could be one of those 30 to 27 type games, and they just blow past because both teams have high-powered offenses. Detroit can score in multiple ways. We saw how they grinded out that game through the air and running the ball. Even though Amon-Ra St. Brown wasn't as involved, they still had a huge performance from Jameson Williams. So I like this one. I'm fine taking either one, either Tampa Bay to cover 7.5 or go ahead and take that over at 51.5.
Yeah, a game I'll get to later. I'm not going to bet it straight. I got him in a teaser. I'll give you that teaser at the end. I can see the over. I think a lot of points will be scored. Next game for me is the Vikings. I know they played it again. They played a high school team. Forget Division II college. They played a high school team last week, but they did well against the high school. I think 6.5, whatever you can grab it at home against the Niners. I think they can stay competitive. I think they still have the best player on the field in JJ. I told you on this show, doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball. He's going to get his. He's always open. I think they'll play well enough at home to stay within. This will be a game. And I think this one, like I told you last week, a trap. This will be the game everybody teases the Niners to a pick. Don't be shocked if they go back to San Francisco 1-1.
Hey, Sam Darnold's got a lot to prove to those 49ers fans out there that said he couldn't cut it, even though he was a decent-ish backup for them. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't know if I love that one yet myself because I don't know if I trust the Vikings to put up enough points against the 49ers' ability to score. But we still don't know what's up with Christian McCaffrey, if he plays, if he doesn't.
Look, he's not going to play. We'll be lucky if we see him 10 times this year. That's been my take all summer. I'm in 42 fantasy leagues. I had insane. The first pick 9 times. You want to know how many teams Christian McCaffrey's on for me? 0. Every first pick went to CeeDee Lamb. 0 for McCaffrey. We'll be lucky to see him 10 times.
Now, he might perform well in those 10 games, but is that enough to win your league? Probably
not in best ball. I'll take my chances with Lamb.
All right, what else you got on this slate from betting perspective?
You know how I feel about our boy Daniels. So if he's going to play a high school team at home, I'm going to lay 1.5 to the Giants, and I'm going to take him all day. I think McLaurin has a big game. They're going to just get better and better as it goes on. Look, McLaurin's a good receiver. When they get a little chemistry and Daniels gets a little bit more comfortable making his reads, that's going to be a dangerous combination in this league. So give me the Commanders. And the Commanders aren't bad on D either. They have a decent defense. They get after the ball. Give me the Commanders at home against East Rutherford High.
I thought Jane Daniels, he didn't look that impressive in the air, but again, first game under his belt. Neither did Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams did not look like a number 1 pick. And that's where I was going to go next is Bears on the road at Houston. I think there's a lot of names on Chicago's side, but guess what? It's week 2 and Keenan Allen is already injured. No shock there. Cole Kmet had no look at all on the field. So they're already down to a rookie wide receiver and DJ Moore who's going to eat. But I do like what Houston's got going on, and that game was a lot of fun back and forth with the Colts. I think they come out and easily cover at home, -6.5. They look like a fantastic offense. Stephon Diggs looked pretty decent his debut with them. I just don't buy into the hype with the Bears, and even though Caleb Williams is a talented quarterback, I just don't know if I see he's got enough of that yet to go out on the road and win a game like this.
All right, my next one, and then I'll let you get your 2 minutes here with the Kansas City faithful that are listening. I'm going with the Bengals and the points. I'm going to give Burrow another shot. I think everything went wrong that did go wrong. Look, when we get to January on the show, I'm going to say, look, I'm never betting against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. But here's the thing, and I'll learn all year once again. I still don't understand how your team's good. You have one great defender. You have Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey. You win every game. I don't know how you do it. I'm sick of seeing this every time the play goes, and he's going like this. I can't take it with him. But you win every game. But I'm gonna take the points and think that the Bengals can keep it close, and then you'll educate me for the next 17 weeks on why you'll be three-peating because I don't get it. Every year I say it, I don't get it, but they're always good.
the regular season does not matter for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's all about getting to the playoffs. So that's why I don't know how I feel about this game yet. 5.5 is a lot considering how these two teams play each other. The Bengals, when Joe Burrow is playing, this game has always come down to a field goal every single time. And I don't know how that's much different. I don't think I trust the Bengals defense whatsoever outside of Trey Hendrickson. Their safeties and corners are subpar. So I think Mahomes is going to get a ton down the field. And I think our offensive line is going to be better than the last several times it's played the Bengals. So I still love the Chiefs to cover 5.5, but I mean, if history tells us anything, the Bengals are going to play this close. I think one thing the Bengals do really well against the Chiefs is ball control and find a way to capitalize on a Chiefs mistake. We saw it in the AFC Championship when they ran the most stupidest play at the goal line to run Tyreek Hill out to the side instead of punching it in. And the Bengals took full advantage of that into the second half. Chiefs offense looked decent. I don't think they really had to do a lot against Baltimore. Baltimore was just kind of giving them a lot underneath, and Rashee Rice took complete advantage of it. Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown might be back this week to stretch the field out a little bit more. Isaiah Pacheco looked really good week one. So I still like the Chiefs, of course, minus 5.5. And then I have a Chiefs and a money line parlay here in a bit. But Bengals do play this close, so it's not a terrible. Again, as a non-Chiefs person, there's no way I could bet it because it just feels wrong. But the Bengals plus 5.5 on the road, even without T. Higgins, Jamar Chase going up against Trent McDuffie is a matchup I think everybody wants to see. And if the Bengals figure out how to move Chase around the field to get out of that one-on-one with McDuffie, I think they can really take advantage of. So I don't have a strong opinion on this one yet because the Bengals also don't have a good run game, and the Chiefs defense has been better at stopping the run as of late, unless you're a mobile quarterback like Lamar. So I still think this is Chiefs 5.5 at home easily.
Xavier Worthy is a problem, everyone.
Yes.
Like, I was just being funny when I said you only had two players. I just like to get Keegan going, and all the Kansas City listeners, I like to be a contrarian. Team is very good on offense, and yeah, he's a problem. He's going to be a problem for this league.
And he's only going to get more snaps as the season progresses.
And the fact that Mahomes is his quarterback is even scarier. So that's something to watch out for.
That's it for my game plays that I'm looking at. I've got a couple, parlay teasers here.
I got one more straight one. If you
go for
everyone. It. I like the Steelers 2.5 at Denver. They looked great. Watt is a difference maker. He is worth points. Like, he really is. He is going to disrupt everything if he's healthy. Bo Nix, I mean, if you look at his stat line, you're almost going, is this a peewee football game? He was 26 for 42, and he threw for 130 yards. I didn't know you do that. I mean, he should get an award for that. 26 completions, and he only went for 130 yards. I mean, that is impressive. I don't know how you can throw the ball that short. Not gonna take him. Good luck. And I think the game
again. I don't think the Broncos really have anything to play for. Personally, I know Sean Payton's not that type of guy to go out and lose games, but that team has like zero talent on it outside of Patrick Surtain. They let all of their quality defensive players go in the offseason. They cut Tim Patrick. Cortland Sutton looks good. They got rid of Jerry Jeudy. So maybe from a fantasy perspective, yeah, if Cortland Sutton's going to get 12 to 14 targets a game, then he should get some. But I don't think Jaleel McLaughlin and Javonte Williams look that good this weekend. They got a little bit of touch, but that Steelers defense, man, again, the Steelers are the perfect team built to win a game 18-10 like they did. I remember a couple years back when they played the Chiefs in the playoffs and they won on 5 field goals with 15 points. They are a team that can do that. They don't have to put up monster offensive numbers. So, yes, I love that a lot. I have them also in one of my money line parlays because the Steelers are really good and TJ Watt is unstoppable.
Yep. I agree. I think they'll score some TDs this week too. You're not going to keep kicking field goals. Law of averages, you're going to get in the end zone.
Yeah. Well, let's end with some parlays. We know how much people love to throw money at a parlay just to watch it burn and crash at the end. I am notorious myself for that. It is impossible for me to not do parlays. I have the hardest time sticking to just doing single plays. I love the parlay. So couple money line parlays here for you. I'll start. I've got all of these on the money line. So Pittsburgh Steelers parlayed with the Houston Texans at home, Philadelphia Eagles at home against the Falcons, and then the Washington Commanders at home. That parlay together on FanDuel right now is plus 464. That's my first parlay.
All right, for me, I'm going with another 4-team special at DraftKings where you can move at 13 points, minus 140. We hit this easy last week. This week, I'm going Falcons, Bears, Buccaneers, Colts. Move the line 13 points in your favor, minus 140. That is my teaser play of the week. And my condolences to all of you who are on Cincinnati. Took me out of half of mine. But my survivor play for this week will be the Ravens. I don't think they start 0-2. I think they'll win the game at home.
Yeah, the Ravens are not losing. I don't think Vegas, I don't know. Well, I'm not going to spend time talking about the Vegas Raiders on this podcast, but I don't think Vegas looks good at all. And if they win a game, I would be impressed.
What else you got?
My next money line parlay, a 3-team parlay money line. The Commanders at home, Chiefs at home, and Colts on the road at Green Bay. Jordan Love is not going to play. How much trust do you have in Malik Willis, even though it's Anthony Richardson on the road and he hasn't had a ton of that? I think the Colts have enough dynamic pieces on offense. And if they control the game with that run game, they could easily go out and win this at plus 100. So you parlay the three of those together, and it's plus 337. Some pretty decent odds there without having to add a bunch of things into it. So it's my second parlay. And then I've got one more after that.
My last one for you in the NFL will be what I give out every week, my 5-man round robin for TD, anytime TD scores. So you're going to play this as a parlay. You're going to play it by threes, play it by fours. If you do 1-1 and you put $5 on the 5-man one, it's a $20 bet. It'll return just about $700. I'm going James Cook, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Pittman, Rashad White, and Terry McLaurin. Those are my 5 this week. If you want to sub in Waddle for Cook, I'm good with that too, or to Keegan's boy Kincaid. You can build it either way. You use Kincaid, it's going to go up a little bit. Use Waddle, it'll stay about the same.
Yep. I like that one. I had a round robin one myself this weekend. I did a couple of quarterback ones that hit, and then the one big one I did was an Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown away from being huge, which kind of was frustrating. But now that you talked us through that last episode, I think those round robins are going to be interesting. If you play it just right, it's not too difficult there.
Good news is you only have to hit one and you'll make money on the season.
Yep. All right, my last one on the NFL slate is another 3-team parlay. The Rams on the road at Arizona plus 100. I kind of like them to go ahead and get that win there. Again, if they get their run game going with Kyron Williams and Cooper Kupp's eating up the middle like he does, I don't believe in the Cardinals enough yet. So I like that on the road, parlayed with the Chargers on the road at Carolina. Again, Carolina might be the worst team in the league. And the way Jim Harbaugh likes to run the ball, they're going to control that game. And then, like you mentioned earlier, Jacksonville at home against the Browns feels like a good one there. So you parlay those three together, it's plus 345. Those are my picks. I don't have any touchdown ones this week. I'm sure I will have a couple by the time we get to Sunday as it rolls around. But heading into the weekend, that's what I like so far.
Yeah, and as always, send in your questions or any fantasy things you have for us. We'll answer them.
Absolutely. And if you're a college football fan, then make sure you also check out our college football week 3 betting episode, which is also up on YouTube. That'll be posting Friday morning. If you're watching this Thursday morning, make sure you check that out because we'll be talking about all 3 of the local teams with KU, K-State, and Mizzou all having big matchups this weekend. So make sure you check that out. And again, if you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe button below so you can win some money this year with us during our KCSA Game Day Gambles. That'll wrap it up for this one. We'll catch you guys in the next episode.